Hello, everyone. The clip you're about to hear is from one of our exclusive Patreon episodes on a recent horror release, and just like all of our other episodes, it might include major spoilers for said horror release, so don't listen to it if you haven't already seen it. You've officially been warned. And if you'd like to hear the full episode, just head on over to patreon.com/horrorqueers and subscribe today. Without further ado, here is your exclusive Patreon clip. You know, too, so there were some reviews, some of the negative ones that were calling this like a convoluted mess, or one that I saw, I think this was the Hollywood Reporter, where it was like 5 episodes of build-up and 4 episodes of just constant exposition. And I'm like, I don't...
What?
The exposition, though, which, well, I think really starts in episode 5 with the Hannah Gross episode. The exposition is done in such a cool way with how they do death and memories.
Mm-hmm.
I don't understand how that... Like, if you're going to do exposition, find a creative way to do it. This show does that.
Yeah. And the funny thing is that it's not incredibly showy. Like, if anything, what episode 5 and 8 in particular felt to me, and maybe this is one of the reasons why I ended up liking this season so much, it felt like the most contemporary version of Lost that I've seen on television since that show went off the air.
So... Okay. I'm glad that you bring up another show, because I have a similar... I do see where you're coming from with Lost. What I was thinking of for a lot of this, too, was the first season of American Horror Story.
Okay. Yeah, I can see that, too.
Well, because you have a lot of the tropes of ghosts trapped in the building, like
right.
A character secretly dead. But I think it's done much better here. I mean, and granted, I think the first season of American Horror Story is definitely one of the better ones. Like, it's like Asylum and then Murder House for me.
Right, okay.
But I still wouldn't call Murder House, like, high-quality television. It's more, like, fun, pulpy trash for me.
Right.
And there's not really a heart there. Like, a lot of that feels very mean-spirited. Like, even when, sorry, spoilers, y'all, when you find out that Taissa Farmiga's character is dead, it's just kind of like, oh, that's shocking. She sucked, but yeah, sure.
It's like, okay. I think part of that is that the writing, for the most part, is better here. Like, there's more of a definitive attempt to link everything together. It's not like, oh, this episode exists to shock you.
Mm-hmm.
I would argue the Halloween episodes of Murder House are there, like, almost as a standalone 2-parter. And there's no standalone, like, oh, if you took this episode out, you would not lose anything in one manner.
But I do like your comparison to Lost, though, because once that show... I mean, spoilers for Lost, y'all.
Spoilers.
Once that show starts introducing time travel, like, it felt very much how, like, episode 5 handles those memories in this show. I mean, it's not really time travel, but it's kind of a blending of that I really, really liked. And, I mean, again, we can talk about it when we really dig into episode 5, but I was just hooked to the screen the entire time. And granted, were there times this season where I thought maybe it was dragging? I mean, these episodes are also, like, for the most part, 55 minutes long.
Yeah, it's called Netflix Creep.
Yes. I mean, there were a couple that were 45 minutes, and I was like, oh, thank God. But...
Mm-hmm. And then there's that one that's an hour and 6 minutes, and I just thought to myself, oh, and Henry Thomas is the main actor in this one. Goody for me.
That's the Jolly Corner one.
It is, yes.
That, to me, is my least favorite episode of the season. Mostly, though, because it's coming off of episode 5.
It's definitely not helped by that, no.
It's not a perfect season, but again, it's just one of those things where, like, because of how it left me feeling, like, I was walking into episode 8, like, okay, like, I think this is a pretty good, like, 3.5 show for me. Episode 8 happens, and I'm like, oh, it all falls into place. Episode 9 happens, and I'm, like, a sobbing mess, and I'm like, it's a 4 out of 5!
Well, that's surprising to me. Like, this isn't a perfect season for you, and you just talked about how you cried multiple times on a rewatch, but it's still, like, you're fairly level-headed in saying, yeah, you know, there's still things that didn't quite work. It's a 4.
Yeah. And, you know, I don't know if you've accused me of this, but I'm sure some people have accused me of being like, oh, Trace, you just like to suck Flanagan's dick and you just like all of his work.
I would never say something as crude as that. I would maybe say that you like to eat his ass, but that's as far as I would go, sir.
But there's something that is so endearing, and even in this letter that they sent with the screeners, because I read it for the first time today because I didn't read it before I started watching it because I was like, that's too long. There's something so genuine about it. And I think the people that don't connect with his work, maybe, I don't want to say they're cynical, but I think that they just maybe don't buy into his genuineness. Is that the right word? Genuineness?
That is not a real word, but I will allow it because I understand the sentiment.
Yeah. But I'm not going to speak for them. But that's just how, that's my thought process here.
It was late in the afternoon when the Professor and I took our way towards the east, whence I knew Jonathan was coming.
Jonathan Harker has asked me to note this, as he says he is hardly equal to the task, and he wants an exact record kept.
Dear Madam Manor, I have read your husband's so wonderful diary. Strange and terrible as it is true. I will pledge my life on it.
God preserve my sanity, for to this I am reduced. Safety and the assurance of safety are things of the past.
I am in hopes that I shall see more of you at Castle Dracula.
Listen to Regarding Dracula wherever you listen to podcasts, or find us online at bloody.fm.